All right, so welcome to I Hate Fantasy Football. This is an LSHS alumni fantasy show. With me, as always, is going to be MFJR, looking
Hi.
snazzy as usual.
No, I do it.
I feel a little underdressed today, but that's okay. All right, so how you doing, man?
Good. How are you?
Yeah, all right.
Excited for fantasy.
Yeah, we're in my house right now, and this is where we're going to do the draft, and boy, is it hot in here.
And there's only two of us.
I bet you're sweating pretty good in that suit.
Feeling good.
All right, so let's go ahead and we'll start by talking about our keepers. We have our keepers up behind us. This is the day after keepers were due. And so I'll just start off by asking you who you think the best keeper was.
Well, I personally think, and I can answer this in a couple of different ways. There's players that I like better. I like Antonio Brown. I like Todd Gurley. That's the generic answer. But I think with value factored in, I think David Johnson is probably the best keeper. David Johnson is a 14th rounder. And when I mock out our league and figure out who's going to take who, I never even get to the 14th round. So I don't know who we would compare against, but that's probably, my opinion, the best keeper. Now, there's one caveat to that. He could totally flame out. But I think with that offense and the tools that are around him and what he showed last year when he actually got a chance to play, I think that's probably the best one.
All right, that's hard to argue with, except when he, tears his knee apart and Chris Johnson's the next.
But that can happen to anybody, though. One bad one Bo Jackson hip on the sideline, and anybody's done.
That's very true. I think my answer to that would be Julio Jones. Kyle's got a pretty good team there.
Agreed.
It's hard to match up with Julio Jones in the 6th round.
I was really hoping he was going to keep Luck and throw back one of those other guys, but
I don't know, man.
unfortunately, I think he made the right decision.
Yeah, Julio Jones is in most redrafts, he's a first, second pick, third
Top
maybe.
four,
Yeah.
and probably the worst, but top four. So.
All right, so that brings us to who's the worst keeper?
Well, the worst keeper, in my opinion, is Carlos Hyde. I think he had one game last year where he was good and then did nothing else. I think that he probably would have been available in the 2nd round instead of being kept in the 1st round. But what do I know about anything? I haven't won this league in 3 years. But I have won this league.
Oh, yeah. I'll get there. Playoffs this year. Worst keeper, in my opinion, sorry, Paget, it's got to be Brandon Cooks. I don't want that guy on my team. He's not going to do anything this year.
I disagree. I like him.
Yeah, that's fine. You can have him. Well, Jeff, you can have him.
I'll trade for him if you don't want him.
That actually is going to bring me into our next, our worst team of keepers. Who had the worst the group of 3? Who's actually starting off from the worst? I'm going to go ahead and say besides me because I hated my keepers, but that's just me.
I think your keepers are all right.
Yeah, you can have them if you want to.
I have a debate between Kevin's team and Thomas's team. Obviously, I think Kevin had the worst keeper overall. I think Tom has some really limited talent on his team too.
Let Tyler Lockett in the 8th come on.
I like Lockett, but I think there was better players available. I think he could have traded for Jordan Reed from you, or I'm glad he made an effort and tried to get Amari Cooper, or got Amari Cooper, but I think there's better value to be had. So I'm still probably going with Kevin because he has one poor running back, one maybe he's going to be okay wide receiver, and a decent tight end, but
yeah, that's hard to
but
argue.
he also has one pick in the first 3 rounds.
It's hard to argue. T.Y. Hilton in the
Sorry,
3rd
Kevin.
round is probably where he would have been drafted anyway, so to keep him
Yeah.
there.
Maybe the end of the 2nd. So
Maybe.
so
Carlos Hyde, he pretty got. I don't know. That's hard to argue. I mean, I was picking Jeff's team as the worst round of keepers. It's not bad. Cam Newton at the end there. It's hard to beat that, but I don't like your running back at all, and I don't like your wide receiver at all. But you've got 3 rounds of picks ahead of you, so you'll be all right. I'm sure you'll draft well.
Yeah. Smart free agent pickups. Good luck.
Best team of keepers. We did the worst. Let's go ahead and move on to the best. I kind of, with the best team of keepers, I like Keitel's team. I like Wahlberger's team. I'm not sure which one I would think would be better.
I think Wahlberger's team in overall talent, but I think Keitel's team when you factor in value.
Yeah, but then he's got a draft.
Well, yeah, and those guys finished 1 and 2 last year, so they did something right.
That's true.
I don't understand exactly what it was, but they did something right. I think Jordan just traded for every good player and then traded them back away in the offseason just to get his picks back. So
He had no picks, and
yeah,
then also
now he's
he
got
had
a whole
all of
bunch
them
of
back.
picks.
Yeah.
So good job, Jordy, but I hate you.
Yeah. Oh, I like Jordan.
I like you too, but I'm envious because I want to win.
All right, and then I think Josh, I don't think you're going to be able to argue with me when I answer. Like, who was the guy who should have been kept and was not kept? Like, there was one guy out there that I think, I don't know that you're going to disagree, but there's one guy who was just there. It was obvious to keep him, and he just wasn't.
It's Carson Palmer. Right? What
What?
are you doing? You only kept 2 players, and you threw back Carson Palmer. Was like a 13th round pick, 14th, whatever it was. I mean,
how do you not keep Carson? Thank you. Thank you for putting
he's going to go about 8 rounds earlier than that in this draft, but you got to have space to pick up more defenses. So
I'll be honest. I kept on the draft board. I had the Seahawks defense. Ryan ended with the Seahawks defense, and then when he only gave me 2, there was a small part of me that wanted to try to convince him to keep the Seahawks. But I don't know. I let it go.
He wants to redraft him in the 6th round. He doesn't understand how the value
wasn't a good enough
works.
value. Okay, all right, got it. All right, so let's move ahead to our draft. We're going to be drafting here in 4, 5, 6 days. Oh my gosh, what day is this?
Today's Monday, and the draft is
by
on
the time
Sunday.
they watch this, maybe it'll be tomorrow. You know,
Well, most of them probably won't watch it because they don't respond to any group text,
No.
message, email.
I bet Lisa watches it.
Let's put a vote up on the website. Who has watched the video? Who hasn't watched the video?
All right, so let's
It'll
go
be you
ahead.
and me that have watched it, and that's going to be the extent of it.
All right, we'll move to the draft. Give me 1, maybe 2 predictions. What's going to happen at the draft, and you can talk about things that are going to go up here. Who's going to draft who? You can talk about who's going to be the first one to leave. Who's going to bring the I don't know, something still on them.
So a couple of different things. I think the Estradas are going to argue over the same player. It doesn't matter which player it is because they pay attention, I'm assuming, to the same sources and do the same kind of research. So one of them will draft one player and the other one will get mad at them, and that'll be a running joke for at least a couple rounds with us.
We do that, yeah.
Jordan will leave first because Ryan's going to be able to stay the whole time because I don't think Lauren's going to be there. At least he's promised to stay the whole time.
Yeah.
There will be some kind of communication issue. Somebody will get logged off of FaceTime, but and so we'll have to wait. Other than that, Kevin will draft some people that he absolutely hates, and then hate himself while he's doing it.
Well, it's kind of the way it happened when you picked his keeper.
Yeah, well, seemingly that's the way it goes every year. That he picks somebody that he said all year long he's going to have nothing to do with, and then winds up taking him because he's familiar.
Like Drew Brees.
Yeah, Drew Brees.
That's kind of one of my predictions.
Okay.
Kevin's going to end up with Drew Brees again.
Yeah, I
as usual.
And I think maybe Demaryius Thomas might be one of those package deals too.
Ooh, yeah, Demaryius in the 2nd round is probably going to look good.
Right, it's right in that
His first
range.
pick, yeah, I can see that.
Right in that range.
Indeed.
So.
I would also, I don't know. I think that something's going to happen with Keitel. He's going to end up showing up late. He's not even going to come, but he's going to FaceTime somehow and it's going to be late. And we're going to start the draft at least 10, 15 minutes late because of him.
And then he'll ask who's available.
And he'll ask who's available. And then he'll pick somebody who we all don't think is good. And then he'll go off and
that's another thing. Whoever Gus picks that I think is terrible is going to have the best season of his career.
That's true, but last year it didn't happen. He had a rough year
Made
last
the playoffs.
year. Yeah, but still down from.
Good. Well, we're on the right track then.
All right, couple last minute questions, or
Got it.
we'll just kind of rapid fire. I draft here for the first 4 rounds, and then I don't see a draft again for the 9th round. What in the heck should I do for 4 or 5 rounds while I'm just sitting here watching you guys?
Serve me food and beer.
I don't like that suggestion.
You asked.
I know. All right. Last question. You don't have to, but if you want to reveal now, you've got the number 1 pick. The number 1 pick of the draft. You've got all the keepers are set. Do you want to let everyone know who you're going to draft?
As of this moment, and subject to change due to who the hell knows who's going to sprain an ankle or blow out an ACL or knock on wood that none of that's going to happen, 90% I'm taking Ezekiel Elliott. So you can plan on that.
It's a good start. Ezekiel Elliott.
Yeah.
Rookie.
On the clock. So that makes you on the clock.
I am on the
Who
clock.
are you taking number 2?
I don't know. We'll figure it out on draft day.
On that.
All right. Thanks, man.
Episode 1.